Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers! Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think the crowd, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debated warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. In the ring we stand tall, words of blades that never fall, debate like warriors brave. Every thought we give and save. Through the noise we cut clean, spirited, mind sharp and keen. With a spark that lights the night, join us in this epic fight. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance in this arena. There's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more. From heartfelt talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome talks to fierce debates, we explore what fate creates. Side by side we seek the light. In the dark our minds ignite. Welcome to the Spartan Arena, where minds clash and thoughts gleam. In the heat of every word, truth and insight will be heard. Buckle up and take your stance in this arena. There's no chance to escape the fight by law. Dive in deep and search for more.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Spartan HQ Network. welcome you live right now on the network, which is also being collaborated with CBN Tech Talk on this show called Anime Unlock. How you doing? And my partner here with the glowing avatar was no, I'm not computer animated. He is.
Well, that's something they changed. That's not me.
I know. They did the same thing when I put my logo. It come out all nice and brownish. I was like, ooh, okay.
You much. You much.
Uh, I know this has been. I cannot call it a hectic week, but this has been a twilight zone. But who am I to complain? At least I'm not the only one going through it right now. Tonight is a icon conversation, a very good, decent conversation on how much this particular topic has impact certain interviews. I mean, individuals. My bad, because this has been, how would I say? Even though this looking, even though you put it up there, which is funny, I'm glad that you put it up there. Ladies and gentlemen, this topic, Battle of the Planet, just to show how old this franchise really is. It came into the United States in 1978, the year I was born, but it's an adaptation of a Japanese animation called Science Ninja Team Gatchaman from 1972. This is why what I said, some people need to do their homework about what anime they're getting themselves into, where the source of it, where it's coming from. This and how many years is that? I'm 46, my brother. This anime is about 52 years old. It's called Battle of the Planet. But before it was Battle of the Planet, it was Gatchaman. The later one, which is you see in the comment, let me read everything. Introduction: Battle of the Planet is a 1978 American adaptation of a Japanese animation known as Science Ninja Team Gatchaman, 1972. Localized by Sandy Frank Entertainment, the series introduced many Western-oriented anime. However, it underwent significant change, including the removal of violent content, aka maybe the middle finger, either the blood, the gut, or whatever was being removed, including the removal of violent content, adding robotic character and rewriting storyline to make it more child friendly. Keyword: re they rewrite certain storyline, rewritten it. I'm like seriously, you gonna do that? Then later Force, the show ended up becoming G Force. Are you don't know what I'm saying? Gataman Force? I digress. A five-member team of young heroes as they protect the Earth from alien force spectra. Led by the Senator Zorta, they operate from Central Newton until Wally Head and my head block the rest of the
Yeah,
content.
Newton under the guidance of a robotic intelligence named Seven Zark 7.
Seven Doctor, but hear this thing though, Wally. From 1972 to now, how many generations did this anime influence?
Probably a good piece of generations. This is literally 53 years old.
50, 53, 56. I'm born in 1978. Good question. I mean, I would like to know myself. I'm 46 years old. The time they came out in 1972. That is 6 years before I was born. That is 52, 53. They were during the time of Dr. Bennett era, uh, Trey Berg era. Ricky era, Uncle Ricky era. I'm sure they seen this one. I was trying to figure out why they call it G for the begin when I first see the revamp or whatever you want to call it. And I see I've come to a couple of CGI version of it. So we best, if you want to do this thing iconic, do a reproduction of this one based on the Japanese original, not the American adaptation. You gotta keep it straight to the original storyline. Forget trying to be quote unquote child friendly. If it's rated R, let it be rated R. If it's PG 13, let it be PG 13. If it's PG 17, which is not PG 17, let it be rated R 17. Let it be. If I recall, Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, what is for kids? They're trying to make it kids friendly. Or am I wrong, Wally? Want to pitch into this?
Well, I wouldn't say they made it quote unquote kids friendly. Well, okay, actually, yeah. No. Let me scratch that. They made it kids friendly because when you take away the bloods, the guts, and everything else, the scars, the actual shit that makes it legitimately look like it's the real thing. Yeah, you made it kids friendly from that point of view. Yeah,
Bingo.
yeah.
And they did the same thing. I remember watching the original. Wally, I swear to God, if you watch the original Dragon Ball Z with the Japanese language, with the subtitle, they were doing F bomb. They were seeing blood. You were seeing gut. You seen people do the. That was going on in the original Dragon Ball. Stuff that you wouldn't see in the US, you would see over there in Japan. I was like, you serious? There's a lot of anime that was watered down to make for the quote unquote kid friendly. Wasn't even meant to be kid friendly. It was meant to be action back, meant for be for older kids, not for the toddlers.
Pretty
But I
much.
digress. Let's go to the next slide because
Oh, but before we do though, I do have a little insight on why the the whole show is named like swapped to
G,
G-Force.
go ahead,
So
take the floor.
yeah, here it is, right? So this is the little tidbit nuggets that I have as far as why they did it. The shift from Battle of the Planets to G-Force is rooted in the adaptation and readaptation of the original Japanese anime Science Ninja Team Gatchaman. Here's a breakdown. Battle of the Planets 1978. This was an American adaptation of Gatchaman that was from Sandy Frank Entertainment. It was heavily edited to make it suitable for American audience in the late 1970s, which meant reducing violence, adding elements to appeal to a popularity of Star Wars, adding the character Seven Sark 7 to fill in the gaps created by editing. While popular, it significantly altered the original Gatchaman content, right? So
Hmm.
when they made G-Force Guardians of Space, which is in 1986, this was later adaptation that aimed to be more faithful to the original Gatchaman. It restores some of the content that has been removed from Battle of the Planets. Essentially, this version attempted to bring more of the original Japanese version to the American audience.
So in other
So,
words, they were saying, "Oh, we fucked up.
pretty
Uh,
much, pretty much, pretty much.
um, let's make it better." So instead of saying Gatchaman, they call it G Force.
Pretty much. And if you're wondering, just to make sure people, I know most of y'all sort of like looking at this like Battle of the Planets, Gotchaman, G-Force, like why? I mean, if you look at their belts right here in this, like just simply in this depiction, you would just pretty much see like why it would be G-Force because it's just like look at the belt. Just look at the belt.
Hmm.
You may as well say it like this. And technically, they quote unquote are a force. quote unquote. So yeah, for the
Mhm.
layman's terms. But yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Mm. Main character G4 Science Ninja team in Gotcha. You got Mark, aka Candy Eagle, the noble and strategic leader of G-Force. J-Team, Joe the Condor, tough, rebellious second in command. Princess June the Swan, the team combatant yet skillful fighter and tech expert. Keyop, Junpei the Swallow, the youngest member who often used the stealth infiltration. Tiny, Rio the Owl, the team pilot and strongman. You ever noticed the name always different? The American adaptation will be Mark. Japanese is Ken. American adaptation Jason. Japanese Joe. Many adaptation is Princess. Japanese June. Many adaptation is Keyop. Japanese Junpei. Many adaptation is Tiny. Japanese Ryu. It's like this is why I had to give credit to credit due to this anime franchise called Shaman King. I hope you will touch that later on this year. They did their own version, American adaptation version of that one. It didn't do too well. They had to redo the whole thing and this time stick strictly to the manga. Was able to complete the whole entire first. I can't even call it first season, but you will find it on Netflix. The second season, if that what I want to call it, I hope that's what it is or not. The continuation of it is based on his son. So Gotcha Man, aka G Ford, is also critical of going through the same reboot. And once again, it speaks about what Wally was talking about. But I think this was happening when they were forced upon it. Did that safe to say, Wally?
Oh no, yeah, no. I'm not gonna defame it because again, this is not the original adaptation. This is an adopted adaptation. So
They adapted, but based on the video adaptation, because meaning you brought what was based on the original over here, and you were trying to extremely water it down. You put so much water and focus syrup in it.
I mean, no, yeah, again, no, that's very much true from that side of the point. But it doesn't ultimately. I'm not saying like this would be the ultimate kill shot
Yeah,
of
because
the whole
but
content.
here's the thing: since the late '80s, early '90s, when people start to realize there are two versions of this, some have took the time out to look for the original one and find out the original one was better.
And this is why I'm saying I don't give it the much flack because again, if we're just taking the original is the main content. So for that fact, I wouldn't say it was inconsistent. Unlike this, the American adaptation was very ugly and inconsistent.
Hmm. So supporting character, 7.7, vote one, vote one. The antagonist, Zoltar, the Great Spirit, and Spectre Force. I'll leave them consistent with the antagonist name. They didn't give it no other weird name.
Pretty much. All right, let's go
And
on to
I'm
the next.
mad that we can't show video content of this because we didn't have time to get copyright strike. Maybe when we get to that level whereby we not only get monetized, but the anime franchise allow us to show a clip or two without getting strike, that would be great. Don't you think?
Yeah, we're able to get that far, which hopefully we will by all you
Yeah.
guys support.
Yeah, as long as they support us. So look at the main plot. The main plot and storyline. The essential storyline of the Battle of the Planet revolve around G4 defending Earth, which is from Spectre repeated attack. Spectre often sends gigantic war robot, monsters, or spaceships to conquer the planet, steal resources, or destroy key locations. G4 use their advanced ship, the Phoenix, to battle these threats. Many episodes follow a and Monster of the Week format, which is sound like Voltron. where Zoltar
Why do you say
deploy.
that?
Like, come on, Wally. Let's be real. We watch a lot of iconic cartoons slash anime in the past. Voltron and G4 had similarity.
Oh no,
Um,
that's what I'm saying. Let's just keep going because it's funny you mentioned that. Let's just keep going.
where Zoltar deploy a new threat and G4 must figure out how to stop it. Some key recurring elements include Zoltar deception, often disguised spectral forces, spectral attack as a natural disaster or technological malfunction. Keyop spectral mission, due to his small size and agility, he frequently infiltrates enemy bosses. Fairy Phoenix transformation, the Phoenix can ignite into flame to escape danger or destroy a large enemy. Jason rivalry with Zoltar, I can't read that part quickly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, Jason frequently clashed with Zoltar as he harbored deep hatred for Spectra. Mark's leadership challenges. As the team leader, Mark often has to make difficult decisions.
That is true. But the thing is, when I look at the Japanese version, when they had the later one, more like more CGI mixed with the anime, they were going more and more in depth with the original story. What I found was wasn't like a monster of the week kind of thing, but it had a very unique flair to it. Notable episode and story arc. Episode one, I believe, or yeah, Attack of the Space Terrapin. The first episode included G-Force in the mission. Spectre sent a giant robotic turtle, the Space Terrapin, to attack Earth Ocean. G-Force must stop the mechanical behemoth before it caused global flooding. Next one was Rescue of the Astronaut, which I'm sure a few people have not seen it yet, but it's good to look at it. G4 is sent to the rescue and must navigate through Spectre advanced security to bring them home. The number was Space Mummy. I never got a chance to see that episode. A strange mummy-like creature appeared in space, attacking an Earth satellite station. The team investigated and uncovered a half-head Spectre experiment. The ghost ship of planet Mir. As another Spectre drifted toward Earth, emitted mystery signal, G4 boarded the ship, on to find out the chatter about Dotar. The thing about this anime was so classic, right? But I don't want people to think I'm just attacking it. Looking at the year this anime came out, the original version, right? Looking at Voltron, they had similar format of the team, and hard not to argue it. Four male, one female, two male in shape, one female in shape. One of them male look kind of husky and got a little short member in the team. It's not the same thing in Voltron.
Pretty much in a sense. The only difference I would say between the difference between Voltron and this is Voltron had lions, whereas this is more replicated on birds.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. But that's why I'm trying to explain how anime they said sometimes I don't think they copy this, so they take idea from one another.
Yeah, I mean there's similarities for sure. They're just slightly different nuances.
Sure. Let's go to the next slide. More story. The Jupiter Moon Menace. Spectre developed a hidden base on Jupiter Moon, preparing for a large-scale invasion. I think I came across that one when I was young. The G-Former destroyed the base before the invasion launch. The Seal of Syntron. Spectre the Earth pressure water supply. Jupiter tracked the stolen water to a hidden planet and must. I gotta look at that episode. I want to see how that's possible because you're stealing Earth water supply. That means you're stealing the whole entire Earth water. Am I wrong?
No, pretty much. Yeah, yeah. No, you're
That,
going
that's
there.
that's a, that's a that's an episode I need to see.
Because literally, stealing the Earth's water, you pretty much would, yeah, it'll pretty much be a desert, a wasteland.
My
It
point.
pretty much be Mars with heat, with more
My
heat.
that that's just my point. I gotta see how that anime came to light because when you say it's still on Earth pressure water supply, Earth is how many percent of How many percent of Earth is covered by water? Isn't that 70%?
If I'm not, I thought it was 80.
Maybe okay, 80. Okay, 80%.
Well, I'm not,
Still,
I'm just
80,
saying. I'm just guessing. I don't know for sure yet. Hold
it's
on.
still the entire 80% of the Earth water. That's a huge underbelly to go about. So I gotta see that episode to understand that part. The alien beetles, especially lead an army of robotic insects that wreak havoc on Earth infrastructure. The team must find out the source and shut it down. Sound like a suspicious episode. 'Cause I've seen similar anime had that type of trope of that type of episode. Peerless Pleasure Cruise. A luxury cruise liner is hijacked by Spectre to be used as a weapon against Earth. Before infiltrate the ship and neutralize the threat. I wonder, how would they take this franchise, right? Look at these 8 episodes, right? How do you think it will look if they were to revamp, reproduce based on present time? What do you think that look going to be?
As far as okay, if we're looking at this in present time,
In present time, I want the audience. If you're watching, if you're listening, I want to throw this out there. They take this anime franchise, Battle of the Planet, aka Gataman, aka G-Force, have it completely revamped based on present time. Right yet, not giving those. None not doing that present time, right? This is 2025, based from 2012, 2014 up to this time, right? Give it enough span out time frame so you can do a proper production, right? And you create multiple episodes, but you're trying to get a better storyline. If you want to get 5 members into the thing, how you think it's gonna actually look? That could be number one. Two, I know this thing sound unfair, but according to the name, Battle of the Planet, what would the ethnic group of these 5 team members gonna be? That's number two. Number three, what type of storyline would it be target based of event that took in place from 2012 up to now? How you play some of these things into the episode storyline?
as far as what bringing real world situations into this,
Yeah, because remember, anime have a way of doing that. When it comes to Japanese animation, they either use history or real life event to play a part in their storyline. You know that. We talked about it from episode.
see, yeah,
We talked about
that's tough.
you talk about it from episode one. Remember
Oh
how
yeah,
anime come about. So I'm throwing the gauntlet in there. Good evening, Mr. Paul Bennett. How you doing? So I'm throwing the gauntlet
going
out
on.
there. So if you were to be given a project to revamp, to reproduce Planet of the Fitness, and Planet of the no, Battle of the Planet, right? And you want to base it on almost present time, but you say, you know what? We give you to 2012 to 2025, whatever incident or historic thing that happened, you can take some of the thing and use it to create an episode out of it. How you go about it? And I remember I said within the 5 members, what ethnic group would they be from? And how would the team turn out to be? How you think you're going to shape up? I know I'm throwing
Well,
a
here's my
huge a bunch of monkey wrench. Hey,
I'll
Paul, you join
answer
the
right now
conversation?
because
Go ahead.
yeah, no, because so here's my idea, right? As far as
Hmm.
who would be quote unquote the ethnic group,
Hmm.
here's my main thing: who has the most highest technology, who has the most highest advanced technology, and then of course you have to
Okay.
also break down who has the more better space, the space system that because there's be a lot of people that test like going outer space, quote unquote. So who have the better
Mhm.
quote unquote space system. You go from
Mhm.
there. Um, Other than that, I would believe, because I would also say this in profession, I would also believe, and this is a little bit of a wrench because of course you have a young kid, but I guess the young kid is a big science major, but you would literally have to have them all in some form of facets in tech, in some form of facets, because just in case of any like where damage would have happened to their ship, so you have to have them very well prepared for that stuff overall.
Mhm.
From the sensibility of just now going forward, if you're talking about Battle of the Planets, you definitely have to monetize this to be like in a sense of saying, okay, we're getting sick and tired of we're getting sick and tired of you bringing the battle to us, but you got to bring the battle over to them and to their
Mhm.
planet.
And
Ergo,
remember,
effort. Yeah, go ahead.
remember, I mentioned ethnic group because when you just said that just right there, what ethnic group is affected by that idea or their own area being affected the most?
Oh, go ahead. You tell me.
Because when I was looking at it, when you were talking, okay, let me the five members. Let's go with the youngest one. Would his ethnic group be either from India because they have an issue climate wise? You think that will fit the quote?
They have issue climate rise, but mm, again,
See,
that really all depends.
you see what I'm going with it because I'm putting you in the I'm not putting you in a hot seat, but I'm putting you in a hot seat with a writer block will put themselves into it. They're gonna write a script for this franchise. You know what I'm saying? You're rewriting, no, you're reproducing, revamping Battle of the Planet without making it more modernized for a newer, younger audience. But
Oh yeah, of course.
you don't want to stray away from the original storyline or original plot or original how it would, but you want to make it whereby it's much relatable to present time, but you don't move away from the storytelling plot behind that.
Right. So I'll
How,
even go
how,
further. So let me come back in here real quick because I'll say
okay.
this, right? Okay, so let's be honest. This is an American adaptation. Americans got ego. They're not gonna ever motherfucking sit here and say that this is like somewhere else around across the world. But I'll say this though, we're talking about from the perspective of just like ethnicity, like they're trying to like modernize it to like quote unquote give some fair balance across the board. Then it's like, oh, well, it all depends. Again, this is like you take where are the smartest kids coming from? If you take that and then work that
Mm,
in there, because again, a small kid like that, you have to bring the smartest and intelligent mind.
and remember, I say ethnic group because if you want to talk about the smartest kid, no disrespect, audience, but I don't think American kid will be part of the ethnic group because if you were to go based on the statistic in the United States, who are the most highly educated ethnic group, one are going to be Nigerian. Because I say Nigerian, the more highly educated ethnic group in the United States. So you will have a Nigerian character in that. That's one. You will have a Palestinian character in there. That's two. You will have an Asian character. That will be three. One character has to be from India too. That is four. Now, who else is left out in that conversation?
Yeah, but I
You
doubted
get my
they're gonna do that though.
you
They're
get
gonna
my
at
point
least,
now.
yeah, but they're gonna at least do one American. They're not gonna do all of that.
I know, but
Someone gonna get cut.
what about Greek? Hey, good one. What happened to the Greek? You know how to say in this? Come
Hey,
on,
all I
Wally.
know is
Come on, Wally.
look. Hey, I'm the one breaking down the good stuff. So look, of
I
course
know,
I
but
don't have no say in this. I don't need to have a say in this because the reality is, again, it's one thing that they can say to modernize it and then
you
bring
hear
in the
that?
characters.
Thank you,
All
Mr.
great.
Paul.
Okay,
Thank
ultimately
you,
it
Paul.
needs to do it. Okay, so ultimately it needs to do well in Asia.
Totally correct. Totally see now. Now,
But yeah,
now,
but see,
right,
look, but
right
that
back.
again, that goes back to what I said earlier about who has the more higher technology base of understanding technology at a higher scale. because if you go through there, and plus also the space systems that are out there in the world, then you pick from there. But again, picking based upon ego, America's not gonna do all that. America's not gonna do all that.
Okay.
Let's just be real about
Now,
that.
is that the case? I'll throw the question to the audience. If you're listening, you're watching. You are given a project. You are given funding. Your job is to reproduce, rewrite, and redo Battle of the Planet. There are five members. When you give me your own answer, what are the five ethnic group will be part of the Battle of the Planet Gotcha Man team? Write your answer in the chat. List them out. What are the top five ethnic group will be part of that team? Because
And if
I
you're
give
not
my
in the chat,
I,
make sure you do it in the comment section.
during the conversation too. Please do that because this is something I want people to start to think about. If you were to redo your favorite franchise, your favorite anime, how would it come about? How will you do it? And I like what Mr. Bennett said. Mm,
Why not Japan
oh,
do live action version?
ooh,
Well, uh,
ooh, that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, respectfully and honestly. I say it like this, Paul. It's the same thing why they haven't did a Voltron live action yet.
Okay, good, good, good.
Yeah.
That,
I came. I was gonna come with the counter. I was gonna come with the counter. I was gonna come with
yeah.
that. But in fairness, I'll say this. Now, granted, you can sit here and say, "Well, hey, Transformer did it. Why we can't do this one?" Technically,
Yeah, boy,
but
you see what happened with Transformer.
well, yes, but we all know that you have to think about this in most contexts. It's like when we talk about live action, you have to be very frank. There are certain things that are possible through live action. There are certain things that's possible through the more higher up developed animations. So it's a cadre of pick one. With Gonzala -1, they've proven they can do a quality movie. Here's my thing though, Paul. Is Gonzaga. It's a monster. All you're doing is just ripping motherfuckers shred to shred, and you're ripping the next monster. Like bits and
Somebody
pieces.
drop a link for Paul Bennett because I want him on in the comment because this is the real. I like what Mr. Bennett just did. He threw a huge monkey wrench in the conversation because let's be real here. On Netflix, there's a bunch of live action adaptation of certain animes, and Wally, let's be honest now. The technology of the yesteryears are not the same technology of today. Correct?
Of course. Of course.
But you have a clear given argument. Certain franchise, it's almost impossible to do live action. Voltron fall on that one big time. It'll be not only
Because again, it's
difficult.
like I said before, right? Because I'll say this.
It,
Think of it like
mhm,
this, right? Imagine, just look at Voltron, right? Because I'll
mhm.
say this. I'll even say this. I'll be very clear. You know what? You have a great point, Paul. Why don't they? Because guess what? Power Rangers proved it. Technically live action, right?
Ooh,
Power Rangers prove it. Technically live action. Voltron, where
ooh,
are you at? Got it.
ooh,
Actually, he has a point. He actually has a point. Technically, they
ooh.
have a point. So when you think about that, yeah, I got you.
Eating for how you doing?
I am well. I just finished the show, so I just wanted to drop up in here for a minute since you guys were talking about
Yo,
Gotcha Man
and
series.
and and I throw the juggernaut question in there, like if you were to redo it, revamp it, reproduce it, and I give you a time from 2012 to now, how will you write the script for this franchise, and what will be the ethnic group of the team members of Gotcha Man? And that is that'll put people in a hot seat, like how you go about it, and while it made some good point about argument.
Yeah. As far as an ethnic group, I mean, probably the best path was to keep it multi ethnic to an extent, as they do with a lot of these films now. But I was saying if Japan, since it's their property, if they want to do it, I think it could possibly do well as a Japanese product. Because I think people would keep it in the same category as the kaiju or the anime or the what
True.
have you. I
Very
think
true.
it could certainly do well. And like I said, these days the calculus for a lot of these films is, again, will it do well in Asia? So if you had a team that was that reflected the Asian culture, it could be Japanese, Chinese, Indian, even Arab to an extent. Because if you look at the characters, I mean, they could fit if you want to typecast them and to look like those characters, especially Keyop. He could look like he could be from like a Bengali or something like that. I mean, he could be like
Bingo.
or Sri Lankan or something like that. So I think you could put a team like that together, and I think it would do.
See, I see that look on
Oh
your
my
face, Wally.
god.
I see that look on your face, Wally. I think you feel like
Oh my gosh.
So
If only, you know,
I think you could
sorry.
possibly put something like that together, and I think it may do well. But I think Japan is more than capable of creating a top notch film. If you saw Godzilla -1, it won an Oscar for special effects. So Japan is definitely caught up when it comes to
and I
delivering.
believe
And
that.
again, the whole thing with Battle of the Planets, you talk about big monsters and everything. The whole point of the show was the big monster fight at the end, right? There was always some giant mecha a monster of some kind or some android type monster at the end that they're always fighting. So they could certainly come up with something very similar to what they're doing with what's the series with the robots and the live action movies that they made with they got these giant robot guys fighting. Oh jeez. They would actually think about trying to bring it into the MonsterVerse, but I forget the name of it.
And when you bring that argument, I throw in what happens when you have one character being from Africa, let's say for example Nigeria, because the title is Battle of the Planet.
Mm.
Can say there's no episode that wouldn't target towards Africa because as of resource infrastructure wise, there was an episode where they talk about the water supply of the earth. That's 80% of the earth body right there. Taking a
Well,
whole
even
entire
just with
continent.
Africa, just the natural resources, which to this, I mean, the rest of the world plummets Africa for its resources. So let's say if you had an alien body that came through and they wanted to get whatever the cadmium or whatever, what's the stuff that goes into your cell phone or whatever,
It
the
was
stuff that
Pacific Rim, not the anime, not the
Pacific Rim,
like,
yeah. So
yeah.
again, so they could if they could use some Pacific Rim elements, and that franchise, to me it's kind of hit or miss with it. I mean, there's certain parts I like, but I thought it was kind of overkill. But they were actually talking about crossing the Pacific Rim with the MonsterVerse, with the Godzilla MonsterVerse at one point. But again, I think they're capable of putting something like that together, and you can have where Africa could be a major place because that's where the world goes to get all its precious metals and resources.
And I
So you can
mentioned
certainly have. I don't mind you had like an African, a Nigerian, or someone like that in the mix. Why not? So I think I think it can sell. So having a multi ethnic team, and now the question would be, you talk about Battle of the Planets. I think they should stay as far away. Now again, I grew up with that, right? I remember when it first came out. So Seven's Arc 7 and the flying dog or whatever. Yeah, I think that can go. If you want to make this a serious treatment, we don't need Seven's Arc 7 or the dog with the spinning tail. That was totally done. That was added because of the Star Wars craze. And so they needed somebody who was like R2D2 to C3PO. So they added that in to kind of make it work. But I find it interesting, though. The one thing I'll say this, because I know a lot of, and I've heard you guys on occasion, I think a lot of you guys poo-poo a lot of the American adaptations of these Japanese franchises. And some of the stuff is with good reason. But what I would say is this. Without America, nobody would know about these franchises.
true.
That's just a fact because, again, most of these franchises, if you look at their original runs in Japan, especially when you talk about Voltron, there is no Voltron. I hope you guys understand that. The series, the names, of these series, they weren't named Voltron. We made it Voltron. And we made Voltron a brand that then made people interested in the Japanese product. Same thing with Gatchaman. So again, the way we did it, which I thought was relatively faithful to the original series, and some of the voice actors, like you had the guy, I think his name Keyop, who played the voice of Zoltar. Keyop was certainly known from Into the Dragon. He did the voice of Han in Into the Dragon. All right, so again, some great, and then you had Casey Kasem on there. So you had some great American voice actors on there. But again, America made it a brand. And with technology and the fact that people can now look at the Japanese product, and now you have them where you can kind of compare them together. Obviously, there's aspects that you may like better in the Japanese version than the American version. But without America, nobody would even know what this is. That's why I will forever, to Eric, I know my man Eric, he hates this. Shout out to Sandy Frank, who is responsible. He's the man who was, near the end of his rope in terms of his creative career. He went to Japan looking for series that he could port over to America. He's the one who discovered Gatchaman and earned the rights to bring it over to the U.S. Yes, he did little changes to it and everything, but he's the one that the reason why we're talking about this is because of Sandy Frank. So I will always give him credit for that. And again, for a lot of the Japanese imports when they come here, if anything, if we don't make them better, we make them brands. And then when the time is right, we can then appreciate the originals. The original Godzilla 1954 or Gojira 1954, nobody would know what it was until it came to America and became Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Shout out to Raymond Burr for his role in the film. It wasn't until 30, 40 years later that people even knew that there was a Gojira original movie from 1954. So I got to give these guys credit for taking the initiative and doing what they did. So sorry, but that's it. America is one of our greatest assets. We know how to make brands. But a lot of these Japanese series, they didn't last past 2 years. 2-3 years tops. It was like, and then they went out and nobody paid attention to them anymore. They weren't running Voltron and reruns in Japan. But then when people like, or Battle of the Planets in Japan, but it's like, it's really popping in America? Oh, well, what was that? Because you had a whole generation that grew up probably didn't even know what Battle of the Planets or Gatchaman was until America got a hold of it.
Mr. Bennett, if it's safe to say that America understands marketing better than the Japanese.
It definitely. Well, not only just marketing, it's just our global reach. I mean, our main export is our media. Our music, our movies, entertainment, that's what we do. So we can take something that might have been, again, the source of somebody else's and make it into something else. The creative may not have been there, or even just the gumption to say, I'm going to do a series like that. And look at all those Japanese products. Speed Racer, all right? All those.
Later on.
Yeah. But look up Speed Racer. Look at, I think it was like Maka Gogo. I think it was the Japanese title. Look at its original run. It didn't last probably no more than a year, maybe 2 years at best. But we're able to take it, shape it into something, put a little even Speed Racer song. Does anybody know the Japanese version of the song? No, I don't think so. But everybody knows the Speed Racer song because of American marketing and American. We sprinkle some dust on it, and we can literally resurrect something that was in the on the back shelves collecting dust, and we made it into something not perfect, but again, because of that is why we can have this conversation. So again, I give credit to where credit is due, and again, Sandy Frank, salute, sir. You allowed us to see a product that even the Japanese at the time didn't necessarily appreciate what they had until we got a hold of it, and then we were like, oh, well, I guess it was worth something, and then they started working with it again.
So, Wally, what's your argument on this one? Because he do have a really compelling argument on this. Come on. No comment, Wally?
Oh no. Do you have a point? Oh yeah, sure. Uh, Sure. Oh yeah. Hey, look, without Americans part of their influence, keyword their influence, yeah, the show would be nothing. It would not be known. But the thing
But
is, I could say the same thing if Asia were to take one of our shows and import it over there, would it be known there either? Would any of ours be known? Tit for tats. I'm gonna be honest with that one. But still, fair enough. Fair enough. I'm not even gonna argue that because I'm not even gonna waste time with
That's
that.
why the original series, 1970, October 72 to September 74, so 2 years. That was the show. That was the run,
Hey.
and that was it.
and I'm glad
Okay,
you
wait.
mentioned that.
Pause, pause.
Go
Can
ahead.
we just say one thing though? Let's be real about one thing. Most of these animes that eventually travel over to America, most of these animes, aren't they mostly adapted neither A through books or neither through gaming? It's mostly one of those two things, right? So what that tells me is what? If the culture is morally fascinated by a book or through a culture and not really through television, why is that? Because a culture is more set on a different parameter. Our culture is set on a different parameter. We're not morally fascinated by the book. If you told me today, DC or Marvel, how much people can literally sit here and say that are true fans can say that they both read both the books and watched the television series versus just watching the television series?
I don't know if you can compare. Can you really compare comics to books? I mean, how many people read Harry Potter?
Hey, thank you for.
I'm just saying I'm just saying Harry Potter was a book that Americans read. If your
But
point
that's
was
my whole
we
point.
don't read here,
But
I can't say that about Harry Potter.
But what I'm saying is this, though. What I'm saying is this, right? Most people haven't really read the books. So, AKA, you haven't read the original content. Because 9 times out of 10, you put in the TV, they change a few things or a good couple of things. But what I'm saying is this. Most people, most of the Asian population of where they do their mangas and everything else, they're morally invested in the booking because 9 times out of 10, they're going to sell that first and foremost. They're not really going to sell the TV series, which is why most of these are just at least 1 to 2 years, give or take, or whatever. Is nowadays now you see the modern times where they try to push more further episodes, the One Pieces, the Dragon Ball, the Naruto's, and everything else. They're now trying to because they have learned from what y'all have done and pretty much make them realize people are that invested into it. And because they're so invested into it, now they realize, okay, we honorably made a mistake, and now we're now saying this, which is why I don't argue that point, because they had to learn from that. They had to learn from that, which is why they make more episodes now. Even though some of them, but here's my point. Here's my problem, though. My problem is just because you make more, doesn't mean that it's better. It will get better. Because my thing is this. Perfect example. Yu Yu Hakusho. It didn't went that far, but it was great for what it was within the time frame of the series that it came to. It didn't have to go that far stretch. And if it did, it probably would have went worse. Keyword probably. I don't know for sure. But it was good for the run that it had. So I'm just saying there's just some little bit of nuance and pick and choose on how far you go with it. I think some people understand there's only a certain limit I can go, and then you leave it there and you leave it as a masterpiece versus trying to ruin it because you're trying to keep it going and trying to be a bloodsucker and suck the
Well,
life.
it depends. Did it have a natural beginning, start, and end? In other words, was the story essentially told from start to finish? Did it have a safe landing? Because in that, I'd agree with you. Like if the story's been told, if you told the story you want to tell, you want to put on the shelf, you want to retire at that point, that I get you.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like there's certain points. Like that's what I'm saying. There's certain points.
Now,
So
let me throw this argument to the play. I hear you guys arguing a point. Now, there are some mangas whereby they have a very good compelling storyline. It wasn't a storyline that was being rushed. I mean, the person who created that franchise, created that particular manga, whatsoever, how would they call a roadmap? I'll throw a perfect example. One Piece. People complain about the storyline too long, but they didn't realize it was a piece to a bigger puzzle based on how they were doing that storytelling. Every character had a backstory. Remember, I talk about how when you have good character creation, you create a depth in a particular character. As the show progresses, you find people have a fan base based on particular character of that particular show. Remember, we talked about before in the past.
No, yeah, but I'll give you a
One.
perfect example on that because, for instance, in the latitude of this, most people, well, everyone knows the history, right? The history of Dragon Ball, the original ending was supposed to be at the Cell Saga, but it went further.
Hmm.
But that was the original ending. Cell Saga was the original ending,
Okay.
literally. And then next thing you know, we got the Buu Saga. Next thing you know, we got GT. Then we got a split off version, which now we're getting back to Super and all those other things. But the
Okay.
main issue that I would hit is why wasn't it not better? Or why
Now,
did it sort of fall off? And I'll say the fall off point is here's the reason. Okay, you have characters like Yamcha, you have characters like Krillin, you have characters like Tien, right?
mhm,
For someone like Tien to have a third eye magically straight up on his freaking eyeball, you really don't think you want to expand on that? Just being honest. You
you
have
gotta.
Krillin. He was not the only person in Dragon Ball that end up having his power unlocked. But yet we don't expect him to be any more better than Gohan because Gohan's part Saiyan. Because we only fantasize on the Saiyan level.
And you have a very complete arc. I'm looking at more content
And
storyline.
remember, in Dragon Ball Super, they said that there's actually humans that out trump card the gods. Well, isn't that funny? But
And
yet Krillin still
I'm
wins.
glad you mentioned it because without saying it, I give a perfect example. Star Trek, right? How many different versions of Star Trek that we have seen in our on TV throughout the history of that franchise? Star Trek: The Next Generation, Star Trek: Deep Space Nines, Star Trek: Enterprise, and each character they took their time to develop and create. There's a level of development they put in play for each individual character. When a particular character about to die off, you realize what kind of fan base that character really had. Am I correct? Yes or no?
Yeah, just like
That is a.
Transformers
I,
when they did that. What
I'm
they
using
did.
that. I'm using that one as a argument base. When you have something that you develop properly, and you have a roadmap to not only that you introduce the audience to different character of that particular program, and you watch them grow over time. Whereby Star Trek went from Star Trek: The Next Generation, some people left that particular Enterprise ship and joined another crew, and they continue on. Some did not continue on. They have a new crew, and you know how they could keep developing. And sometimes you have a cameo when the original Star Trek came to visit the new Star, like the original crew who are old and now high ranking meet a new crew who just gain their foot wet. You get what I'm saying? That type of storytelling you don't see that a lot in a lot of shows, and it take a huge. I can take a huge writing block, but it take dedicated writing block who stay consistent on the storyline. I think that's what the issue we have in play. Having a successful product whereby you have compelling storyline, you have compelling character depth in play, and like you just mentioned, the TM who got a story. How much do you explain? But what not Inuyasha, Hakusho, what we gonna call it.
Yu Yu
They,
Hakusho.
yeah, they broke it down to a certain degree to give you a backdrop by each individual character, where they came from, who their
Yeah,
line is, what their clan is. That is missing on a lot of anime, not only anime, but also in TV show. Some people don't know how to take true to the creativity. If you want to create a show with different characters who will be there for multiple episodes, we need to know who they are, where they're from, what their backstory, what their origin, why they're here, what do we know why they're here, what we need to know about their particular character. And we want to buy anime, anime give you that room to do that. But we can say Some people drop no. I'm gonna give you the room to do, but some people drop the ball in
It
doing
gives
that
some room to do that based upon certain animes. Let's be very frank.
based on the animal. But some people drop the ball in doing that. That's why I throw that monkey wrench. If someone will give you money to reproduce Battle of the Planet, you can go to bed and fine. I'm glad you came because what you brought in is a very good argument in play, and
Appreciate it. Glad that also.
this is why I'm doing what
Yeah,
we're
because
doing
there's
here.
still one more I want to still make sure I answer because you was talking about why don't the Japanese why they don't eventually invest in doing live actions, and I'm gonna say it like this: this is the prime culprit of why Netflix.
Ooh,
Now, granted, One Piece, most people said that was decently respected, give or take, but still, the other projects plus the old Dragon Ball movies, yeah, there's a reason why they don't want to do that.
and remember we talked
Mm,
about it. Their company politics in play with this thing because this is a huge IP. Remember when Dynamite came in and said IP, what the company who have total control of their IP, intellectual property,
right.
what
Right.
they want, what they don't want. And
Right.
I had to learn that over the period of 15 years. And
Right.
I get it now.
No, because think
They don't,
about it. I'll even make a fair point, right? In America, we have made Transformers. We made the movie. We've shown it big up, all that. So my thing is, why we don't make Gundam? But of course, protecting the quote unquote IP.
But Gundam was that ever released to a general population audience though?
Most people know what Gundam is, but that's one. But
Most, do you think? Most
it was
kids?
it
yeah,
was
'cause there's
introduced.
multiple different versions. But the reason why I'm putting up Gundam is because you got to think about it. Gundam was around the same, give or take, around the same size of what a Transformer is. All you're just doing is just a pilot going inside of it, and then you're just mobiling. So my thing is, from that perspective, and then just based on the move out of it all, it was possibly able to be done. So why wasn't it?
And even though it been
It
here
might
about
have been just because it was maybe it was just too late to the part. Because again, at the time when Transformers originally aired, you had multiple uh, cartoons. I won't call them anime, but cartoons that try to model that. You had robotics. Who put the future in your hands? Robotics. They came out with a concept of humans getting into these robot machines. Then you had the GoBots, which is basically was a knockoff of Transformers. So again, I think they tried with a few others to sort of take advantage of the sort of robot slash, Transformer type icon. I think Transformers just landed it better, and anything left of that was going to be the standard by which everything else was raised. So I think if you did try to put Gundam out as a live act, as a general release here in the U.S., it could have been that people might have looked at it as a
Knockoff.
a knockoff. But they did do Robotech though.
and
Robotech had a run here, and I don't know what the original anime property was, if it was called Robotech or not. That could have also been another rename for the U.S. market. But whatever that franchise was,
we're gonna have that conversation later on, and we'll bring it back on that one because when you mentioned Gundam, Gundam came out in 1979. This after a year that Battle of the Planet came into the
Oh,
air
really?
in
Interesting.
it was aired in the year to 1978. So based on that argument, why it didn't come out here? It's all based on the market and based on the IP.
yeah,
Because
and also and the toy line was huge here. So again, I don't know if Gundam came. So you're basically saying Gundam came out before Transformers did. But again, the marketing, the toys, the toy line that came out, whoever put that, I think it was Bandai. I think was the U.S. distributor here
yeah,
for
believe so.
Transformers toy line.
I believe so.
Yeah, so again, that was huge, and I don't think if a Gundam, I don't know if did they secure a marketing rights deal? I don't think so, and that's the thing. I think with a lot of the Japanese properties, a lot of it is like, okay, well, you're focusing on the anime, or the quality of the anime, or the storyline or whatever. If you want to play in the U.S., it's all about money here. So again, you have to be able to connect all the dots. You have to have marketing with it, toy lines, memorabilia, lunch boxes, right? You got to sort of connect all that together. And I don't know if whoever released the Gundam series or tried to release it here or any of those series, the Robotech series or anything else that
Well,
came after that.
But
yeah.
here's the
So
funny thing,
I just
Bo.
did some lookup real
But
quick.
wait a minute.
So
Here's the
yeah,
thing,
they
Bo.
are working on that actually.
Gundam
That is, I just
have a
looked it up.
different type of toy line that was different from Transformer. But what they did with it, it now becoming a global sensation.
But hang on, but actually, can you call Gundam a toy line though?
Mm.
Because most of the time, again, I went
That's
to
good.
Comic Con.
That's a good
I
question.
went into the Gundam pop up.
Well, I wouldn't
There were
call it a
very
toy
few.
line. I'll
There
call
were
it a
very few
model.
toys. They were model kits.
Model, yeah,
Again,
model.
that's
Yeah,
a different. That's
Yeah,
a different
good point. Good
demographic. If you're
point.
talking
Good
about
point.
7 or 8 year old kids that want to take their action figures and their toys and they want to smash them into one another,
right.
Good point.
you
Yeah.
don't
Good
want to
point.
just have spending hours putting a kit together and just put it there and look at it. I'm not saying that doesn't appeal to some, but you're talking about kids, American kids. They want to
Right.
smash up things. They want to take their action figures and fight and
Hold on,
boom,
let me
boom,
cut you
boom,
off 1
and
second
pull
for
the
that.
arms out and stuff.
Yeah,
So
because
the
I
Gundam
mean,
does have
they made them.
action figures too. They have
Yeah, they
clothes. They have
should.
launch. They have everything out there. It is the how much stuff they have out there is ridiculous. So if you want to compare like apples versus oranges, you could, but it is a lot of stuff out there for Gundam, more than you think. The booth what we saw was literally the peak of a pinky. I'm being very grain salted right now when I say
And
that because
he
there's
do
a
have a
lot of
point
stuff out
because
there for Gundam.
Japan have a huge marketing employ around the Gundam advertisement because people rather travel to Japan to see the lifestyle of their actual Gundam. It's like a that that's the most ridiculous marketing I ever seen on any franchise. You have a live action version of a Gundam at Tolata building that actually moves, and people travel around the world just to see that thing. When you see their actual store location, it is huge. And here the question people ask, why can't I bring it to the US? Question is, where you will bring that type of setup to the US? That is where the biggest question be to play because for
Like this
one,
David just said, Gundam has a live action mobile suit, literally with hydraulic. It literally comes right out. It's showing maybe more than 5 minutes, maybe 10 tops, but it's literally mind blowing in how much it is.
and that is one of the biggest bottleneck tourism because people go over there to take pictures. They say, "Oh, I was right here. I climb in here," and I what I'm like, how much money do you spend to build that type of mechanism? That's one. Two, maintenance because it's not that simple. How many moving parts on that thing? Because we come about American marketing, we don't have anything near that close or building something of that size based on a particular franchise. There's no virtual lifestyle version of that out here. It's never gonna happen. Because for one, how much would it cost you to build such a thing? You gotta look at it that way. Do we have the engineering technology to go that far? This is why I'm saying I'm glad we had this conversation because I have looked at Japanese marketing and what they do and what their creativity level go to, and it go too far to the extreme level. That's the question. Do we have a educational issue that we cannot compete with them?
I you know what I think what the problem is. We have no people who don't want to goddamn work. Let's be straight. In my field, to get one person to apply and show up for an interview is about harder than pulling a goddamn toothpick out your dick.
Because this franchise we talked about, I throw in many different way angle. This is something that it give a unique argument for people to start to look at on a much deeper level. Because when Mr. Bennett said, why can't I do a live action version? I thought about I was like, And why they throw the monkey wrench? Netflix. Netflix is like a gatekeeper of doing any live action of any anime because I don't see no live action on Hulu. I don't see no live action version done on Apple side of things. So if all the live action is being done on Netflix, that means Netflix must have a stronghold on Japanese products or Japanese programming.
Technically, it
That
does.
and that's a huge difference because we want to throw the argument why I say Disney can never go into the anime business. That just prove my point. If it would be the live action, while they say it will have to end up being on Netflix, how much money are they paying Netflix to produce it?
That gives me another good example,
Hey
David. That
guys,
was the last
hey,
Gundam.
guys, I really got to drop. So
All right,
All
well,
right,
thank
no
you very
I'll
much.
problem.
see. I'll
Uh,
see you guys
Look,
over the weekend.
do me a favor when you get a
yeah,
second. Read the last text. I needed you to respond to one thing I asked you. You never did.
Okay. All right. It's actually all right.
All
I'll
right,
take a look.
All right,
Okay then.
bye.
Yeah,
no
later.
problem.
But
I
remember the
appreciate.
Netflix show. Hang on, David. I want to land the plane after this really fast. My point is right. The last show Netflix came out with anime was Gundam. It was like a CGI version, but it did
Yes,
extremely fucking good.
it was CGI mixed with the anime, but the way it
Correct.
came out, it was looked unreal. It wasn't extremely good. It was unreal. That's the word, unreal. Because when I watched it 2 or 3 times, first thing came to my mind is there have been a complaint. It's kind of complicated to collaborate anime with CGI, but the way they did it, it came out crystal clear, was unheard of, and it was one of the best.
David, I'll tell you one thing here really fast. A year ago, if you told me Netflix is going to be around in 5, 6 years, I'd tell you you're a fucking idiot. Now, with the last year, maybe not even a year, the last 6 months, maybe less than that, they've been dropping some huge goddamn fucking bombs. You got to credit when it's due. Netflix is doing a really good job lately.
But here's the thing: Netflix had a decade of advances ahead of everybody. Remember what I stated to you guys before in the past conversations. Is the king of streaming because everybody thinks streaming was a big deal to begin with, and they left Netflix alone until the media company started to realize the type of viewers they were getting. Remember, when Netflix came to the business, the only company they had was Hulu, who was not under Disney at the time. Disney later on acquired Hulu to compete with Netflix. Both Hulu and Netflix were doing anime, but based on who were doing the negotiation, Netflix had an upper hand. They didn't have a Japanese studio constructed for them to do business with other Japanese production companies who are focused on anime product only, but not only anime but other Japanese programming as well. Because besides anime, how much Japanese movies or show are you seeing loaded up on Netflix lately these days? A lot, a lot of good ones. But I found out if you have a certain VPN and you log into the Japanese version of Netflix, you'll be flooded way more Japanese programs you can ever imagine. And some just slowly but steady are either being converted or they have a fan base that people want to know more about it. And they say, okay, we'll begin it shortly. We'll begin it soon. That's the difference. Disney trying to compete. Paramount trying to beat all these other streaming services that is suffering. CNN had to drop out. No, CNN still have their own streaming service. They dropped the ball. They couldn't compete. They had to step down. They were losing money. Paramount was losing money. Disney got a loss. Netflix is barely losing money because they're on a global scale. There are people in Africa watching Netflix. There are people in your country watching Netflix, Spartan. Netflix is a global giant.
Actually, believe it or not, in Greece, just regular TV, we don't have cable in Greece. It's just regular. You put a big antenna on a roof, and hopefully have it. Anime is a huge thing over there right now. It blew up humongously ever since Saber Riders, Mask.
Oh,
I can go on and on. Voltron. G-Force wasn't in Greece when I was there. Jake and the Roman Warriors, Dragon Ball Z, and so on. But you know which one I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in this conversation really fast? You know
Uh
which
oh.
one is actually having good anime stuff on there?
Who?
I'll let you guys think about it really fast. It's a streaming service.
Amazon?
Bingo. Amazon has some great bombs.
Yeah, but let's now get into they get into the competition. They understand that anime is a global juggernaut. They're
I
not
agree.
getting it. They're not getting that. Anime is a global juggernaut. It's not no simple. And remember that I said it. Anime have a massive, massive library. I know the CEO of Amazon is seeing that Netflix doing live action version, questioning how much are they willing to pay to have it produced on their end. Do they have the means to do that? Because when they're
Dude,
talking about
I'll
doing,
give you a great example. Why I think Amazon is doing great. I'm just looking at it right now. I'm just browsing really fast. Let's see what's on there. One is to me, it's a classic. And you guys might argue, and that's fine if you do. It's just a personal opinion here. Pokemon, the first movie, is on there. You can't find that anywhere. Pokemon 2000, you can't find this anywhere.
they got a
They
point.
have these kind of movies and shows, like, oh, I want,
And
like people like me at old fart, like I want to see the old classics sometimes.
that's what you're saying. Because here's the thing.
There's some.
What I've been
Go
trying,
ahead.
what I've been
I'm
trying to
sorry to cut
point
you off.
out, what I'm trying to point out the obvious this. When it comes to competitions in this era, right? It's not simple, but it's very difficult. Right now, they're now realizing how much money being generated from anime alone. The fact that they had done the earlier Pokemon anime movie on their thing, they really did their due diligence to get the license for that. Because we do have Pokemon item on Netflix, but not the original one, like the old one that haven't popped up yet. Even though Wally would tell you that I throw it out there. Netflix is having a competition with Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll right now. We don't know what the direction they're gonna go to, but right now they're really hard to figure out how to compete with Netflix. Because once Netflix start to make bigger move to knock them out of the water, they're doomed.
David, do you know the average price of one anime episode makes? I have the numbers
Let
right
me
in front of me right now.
tell me
175,000 per episode.
compared to American shows,
I'm not sure about Americans and animation,
and
cartoons, or
we would
junk.
let
If you
me
want to call
we
SpongeBob
would
a
have you know what
cartoon.
we should have a show on this one. It had Angry Elf and pop culture on it because we need to like compare who make the most profit in broadcasting, anime, regular TV show, and where the market's running to. Because here's the problem: anime is not just based on one genre; it's based on multiple genre, and they got more than enough to entertain the global massive as it is. Wally and I both know that very well. We had an argument. We had our argument about Gungrave, and oh, it's dark. We will soon be talking about Neo Geo Avalanche. Like really, a much darker program and had a bigger fan base. Like, come on,
Oh
stop the
no, just
bullshit.
read this one. It's right here in front of you too.
This one,
'Cause-
got you, man.
yeah, read number one.
Number one, violent and depth censorship. Oh yeah, it did. Gatchaman was much darker, featured frequent death. Okay, you know what? There you go. You just killed the argument. Right there, many violent scenes were either removed or even in Battle on the Planet. We told the truth. The original Gatchaman, there were too many deaths going on. It was very gruesome. $7 Ducking Edition. The robot was added to soften the tone and provide additional narrative to fill in. But the Paul Bennett was correct. They need to be removed. Spectre as an alien for God. Not to mention, enemy was a Earth-based terrorist organization. Battle of the Planet changed it to make Spectre an alien invasion force. So, in other words, which was almost similar in that type of storyline? Cyborg 007. Immediately I read that part right there and got to man enemy with an Earth-based terrorist organization. Same thing when we had with Cyborg. Cyborg 007 was an iconic anime that went straight to CGI afterward, and the CGI were pretty damn good compared to the anime version of it. Character personality: Jay's original counterpart, Joe from Gatchaman, was much more violent and vengeful, which was toned down. Like,
Now pause. You know what's funny? Because now that you just read number three, going back to what you said originally, how this would look in modern times. So technically, this wouldn't even be the battle of the well, technically it would be battle of the planets because technically you're fighting for the control of the world, aka Earth. But yeah, but now it's like, well, now you have to look at this and be like, well, where would Spectra be amongst the world? Because you're a terrorist, so you're pretty much quote unquote your Earth-based terrorist organization. So technically, where would this originally be locked in, and then where would this group would be locked in? Ergo, your connection to America would be official because it's right there, modern time.
hey, I remember I talked about the ethnic group. Okay, then. Now, can you argue what I throw that monkey wrench for now?
Yeah, let me read the last part, and then we'll move on to the other one. Hold on. Dialogue adjustment. Many of the original storylines were rewritten to be more simplistic and less morally ambiguous.
So, in other words, like I said, if you were given the money to redo all this, to stay original to the original storyline, but make it between the 2012 to right now. And there's so many history events that you could have used. And remember, you just read it out there. The enemy with the Earth-based keyword, terrorist group. How many terrorist groups are we hearing in the past decade and a half?
You
Way
know
too
who
many.
their ethnic group is going to be?
Oh,
But one thing I want to touch base before we move on from this, I don't know if you guys remember in 2013 or I think I remember it was 2007 or 2013. They came out with this update animation slash anime movie of G-Force slash the Battle of the
I
Planets. It
remember.
was
I remember that one.
I don't remember the name of it off my head right now. I've been trying to look for it, but that one did very well. I thought.
It did, and the one that mixed with CGI, and it had some guest appearance from other anime part of it. Yeah, Cashion in it too. But I was kind of like, what Cashion doing this? But it was done pretty good. This is why I say what I said. If we were going to redo this, and based it on the timeline between 2012 to now, I could have said from 2001 to now. That would be giving way too much material because based on what we shown from the last slide, the enemy was a Earth-based terrorist group, and the terrorist group became a thing back in 2001, 9/11. So if you were to look at all the multiple terrorist groups and you take a piece or two and tackle all, they create a terrorist-like group enemy for Battle of the Planet. But we won't call it about it. We call it Gotcha Man, or you want to call it G-Force. We want to stick with G-Force. That'll be fine. But if you want to stick to original adaptation, believe me, you're going to pick a multiple of ideas for multiple terrorist groups that you have known in the world today, and trying to see how you will rewrite it. Whereby this is the group, these are the so-called events, because there's some anime just like that. They were dealing with international Earth terrorist groups to try to steal artifacts, like Spring, the latest version they had on Netflix. And then what I said, how will you spin it? How will you build it? What would the character be like? What would be their backstory? Mobile Suit Gundam 00, perfect idea. All their pilot is from different ethnic groups, except for one was actually a humanoid. Am I wrong, Molly?
No, I remember the humanoid.
And that was what the name of the group? The Celestial Beings. Their job was to be a private militia group, fight against the world and trying to fight against other corruption. That Mobile Suit Gundam 00 storyline was very unique in its time,
But
and
that's
was
not the only one has done that. There's a few of them that done that. They're not
totally.
they're not known in America, but there are some of them. If you think about it, Ghost in the Shell, that is has similar
Oh,
one too. Let's think
that's
about that for a
another
minute here.
that's another one that they're dealing with international terror. See, this, I'm glad you mentioned that one too.
There are a bunch. There are so many out there. We just don't know them as Americans because Americans are very picky what comes over here. Because think about it, when they bring something over here, okay, first it's gonna be subtitled, correct?
Yep.
Then it's going to tub, sub, whatever it's
Hmm.
called,
Dub.
right? Tub
Hmm.
that tub takes a lot of time and money to put into that. If it flops, they just lost all that money,
Hmm.
and that's part of the problem.
And this is why when you talk about why could they do a live action version, they said the thing when you did Voltron, they did no, we had this argument about Transformer, the live action version they did. It didn't do too well in our eye, though who was a real hardcore fan of the original franchise.
I'm gonna push back here a little bit on that one because
Okay.
some people say some hardcore fans that say, "Oh, it did really well. I liked it actually," because they went into it with open minds, and this is not going to be a cartoon, the anime, whatever you want to call it. It was a different story, a different timeline, and everything.
Yeah,
But
but
other people like yourself, who's very hardcore, who I think you're gonna want to suck Bumblebee's dick at one point, is yes, I said it, Wally. But my point is trying to get to is they have a lot like that.
yeah, but forget about Bumblebee. What pissed me off with the last one, if you have a character called Wheeljack, if anyone who followed the franchise, even the game they had on Android and iOS, Wheeljack is not a Volkswagen Beetle van. So let's stop that. It wasn't a van. It was a sport car, almost competitive to Bumblebee sport car version. But they had the audacity to put Wheeljack in a Volkswagen Love Beetle van. To that type of van for hippie in case they want to get their jiggy on. Really? No. Am I wrong, Wally? You're on mute. But but still.
Oh, sorry. That's what I call Sung a cool character. And
Uh,
ergo meaning they try to sell you the fun guy and that vibe of the car and everything.
And he was speaking almost like you speak almost like you trying to speak French. When do you ever seen that character Will Jack trying to sound like that? In all the adaptation of the anime series. He's supposed to be the science guy, that rival the Decepticon science guy himself. And he made a guy sound like a Pepe Le Pew. I'm a I'm a he. Like seriously? Me and I heard Will Jack and who they put the cat. I was like, I am done with this franchise. I am beyond done. You have destroyed it.
And at least they let him talk. Bumblebee was like like an
And
actual bee.
and throughout the franchise growing up, he was able to talk easy. He wasn't a mute. The original Bumblebee was actually a Volkswagen Beetle, the iconic Volkswagen Beetle. Before they upgraded him to the Camaro. So they're saying, oh, if we're gonna upgrade Bumblebee, we gotta change his body, but he cannot talk. He gotta be a mute. And you think that gonna draw respect for the franchise? No. Like, come on. Even the last anime they did, Earthspark, they tried to give it some respect on his actual look. They kept they kept his iconic head look and everything whatsoever. Yet he was talking. He was training some dude must speak to a term called Terran, which so to speak, I was like, I was looking at the storyline. I was like, it seemed okay, but it's missing. But other than that, I was like, not worth it. It's not. And that's what I'm trying to point out. Is some franchise are being raped and destroyed and made garbage. So if you want to take this particular franchise, Battle of the Planet, Guardian of the Earth, aka known as Gatchaman, and you want to redo it, then you have to stay back to the original adaptation where it was darker, it was grimier.
So what you're trying to say here is Diddy just came in and just said, "Take that, take that, take that," and make everyone some happy go lucky themselves.
I'm not talking about that route.
Well, apparently, I mean, you want to talk about
No,
someone getting
I'm talking
someone
about
getting gro-
the route like you see in say Stay where it was gruesome. It was more like, okay, we don't care. We don't mind massacre a bunch of village. We don't mind taking. Uh, we're like one of the Garmy militia. We come in, we take what we want,
Okay, so you're
and
talking about before it got changed. Okay,
yeah. I ain't talking about the Diddy version,
yeah, okay, because
but you get my point. And even with the plot, what it is, you say from the last slide, it was dealing with a Earth-based terrorist group, not no alien force. That was a severe watering down. They put way too much water, add too much fructose sugar, and no sugar. They were giving these anime diabetes.
now forget diabetes, happy pills.
But that is my point. So it's kind of like, how will you deal with this? How will you approach it if you want to bring it back again for to the younger generation? That's what people are trying to do right now. I want to tell you shout out to the people who reproduced Shaman King. Shaman King was done the wrong way the first time it got aired in the United States. They deviated from the manga. They realized it wasn't good that way. They came back and redone it properly. They complete its first season. I'm not sure you want to call that a season, but it had like 50 something episodes. It's on Netflix, guys. If you get the channel, look up Shaman King on Netflix. You see what I'm talking about. It was done properly. People have to realize when you do anime the right way, you get a proper fan base. Now, this one, how will you go about it? And let's say Netflix bought the license and they want to do live action. We have seen a live action of Inuyasha. We have seen a live action of
They did that?
yes.
Oh my goodness!
Wait, hold on. Let me check. I don't think that did they did no. I know they did a live action of Bleach. I remember they did a live action of
You
Samurai
show.
X. Yu Hakusho. They did a live no, action of Ronnie Kenshin. They did a live action version of um.
Dragon Ball Z.
Let's not mention that disaster.
What? Almost everything you're mentioning is almost a disaster.
Um, I know they'll bleed. What that thing? Aquaman show. For Aquamans.
Okay, you're talking about. Oh wow. Okay. Oh,
It's
Full
on
Metal
Netflix.
Alchemist,
Full Metal Alchemy. They
a
did a
live
live action on that
action.
one. Yes. This is, ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to have a show on this topic about live action version adaptation of anime franchise that we know.
That have died and tanked beyond measurements.
Because right now, I'm going to look it up now. We still have time. I might want to look it up on my account on Netflix, and I will type in live action and see what pop up on my queue. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of them, and this is why I'm saying, and I had to give Mr. Paul Benedict correct among. He actually made a point. Why not do a live version of Battle of the Planet? What hold them back? If they're able to do
The
live
me-
action of other anime, I'm gonna type in live action. You got Bleach, you got One Piece, we have Kakegu, we have Death Note live action, Yu Yu Hakusho live action, Ronnie Kenshin live action, Fullmetal Alchemist live actions, The Last Airbender live actions, Mob Psycho live actions, we have Zom 100 live actions, the Ingenuity of the Husbandman, you have live actions, Cowboy Bebop live actions, Night of the Zodiac, they did a live action of that one. Um, Golden Kamuy live action. TD Hunter live action. This is on my Netflix account, and I did type live action, and it pop up. Now this is added a live action version of Dungeon and Dragon. We have live action of Resident Evil.
Wait a minute.
Um,
Ooh, I think I'm gonna be. Yeah, I actually gonna be
now,
watching Dungeons and if it's the same one, I might be watching that same movie or
now I want to
live
tell you
action
guys
later.
did a live action version called Kingdom. It's based on an anime. They haven't uploaded an anime yet on Netflix, but what they got 4 movies already called Kingdom. It's an anime. If you have Netflix, type in live action. You scroll down, you see Kingdom. The latest one I've seen all 4 already, which is very good. What else do I have live action of? I'm just scrolling down. Godzilla minus one. I have to watch that one. I haven't got a chance to watch it. What else? Another. Godzilla, Kong. Yeah, you could call that part of the live action version. Yes. Dynasty Warrior, based on the video game, live action. Um, what else is there? I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. Um, Resident Evil, yeah, it's live action too. Before the anime series version, yeah. Um, what other have they done yet? They haven't done Inuyasha yet. Sorry, let me just pull that back. They did a.
Thank
I
goodness for
think
that.
they have not done that yet. Um, there's no other one I can see so far that have done live actions. You know, the latest version of Ultraman, it was all computer CGI. So, based on the list I mentioned, they were able to pull off Bleach live actions. One Piece was Kage Yui. Do a live action version. It should not be. It cannot be. It kind of easier for them to pull a live action version of that. Yu Yu Hakusho is kind of more of like I haven't watched Death Note. Ronnie Kenshin, I watched it, and I that is a anime based franchise, but if you done live action the way they did it, it's kind of very unique. They kind of almost killed it though. It's pretty good. Full Metal Alchemist. I think there's about 3 or 4 movie of that. It's on Netflix, guys. Um, Zom 100. There's an anime version of it and there's a live action version of it. Y'all do the judge of that one. The Ingenuity of a Husbandman did a live action and an anime version of it. Y'all do your own judgment on that one. Night of the Zodiac. Ah, it's it below. I'm not so much feeling it, but y'all could be the judge of that too as well. Or the live action version of Parasite. Don't ask me why. Do not ask me. I skipped that one because I was like gruesome, but they actually did it. Golden Kamuy. The anime version called Golden Kamuy did the live action of that one. Yeah. City Hunter. I don't know how they pulled it up, but it did it. It's on Netflix. Um, Resident Evil, they have a few live action there. Richie Rich. I'm not. Yeah, it's a live action, but I don't really too care about it.
I mean, we pretty much get the synopsis of everything, but let's finish this out, man. Let's finish that 'cause we're almost hitting
Now,
our
I know
mark.
you're almost there, but to do a live action of this, that will be strictly close to the original storyline. I feel as if you will be taking a script from the movie on Netflix called Oh God and The Nun. It's like you're matching the Oh God and Nun into one collaboration, and you're trying to get that action packed look of the Gotcha Man. That's what I think it might be. I may be wrong, but that's what I think it might be. What you think?
I mean, we're just talking about first thing come to mind. I would easily compare this to Marvel's adaptation of, you can say, Battle of the Planets, aka G-Force, is the Avengers, and then Spectre. It was pretty much Hydra.
You know what? I'm glad you made that point because I didn't even think about that. We did Avenger. How many Avenger movies have we done so far?
About like what, somewhere around 10, give or take. I don't know. I don't remember. I lost count.
And if you were say to do a comparison, if you were able to do the Avenger movie based on what they have and based on how they went about it, then it's safe to say you could do a live action version of Gotcha Man. But based on the fight scene, based on the gadgetry and superpower, how do you expect it would have looked? So there's 4 movies of Avengers so far.
Okay, well,
According to Spartan HQ, there were 4 movies being done. That being said, it's possible they can do a movie, a live action version of Gotcha Man. Because if you think about it technically speaking, I'm being on the technical aspect of it. The Avengers have different characters from different realms, if you want to call it, and they fight sequence was pretty much decently good.
I mean, the fight scenes were good, but here's the difference, though. What we're talking about, because the only thing is, right, we never had quote unquote Hydra going against, the Avengers like that. I mean, you know what? To
Yeah,
make to actually
you
let me
got a
let me
point.
make a
You got a
better
point.
let me make a better comparison. Agent of Shield going against you, I would say someone like Hydra, something like that. Better comparison. But what this is just more with tech, and you're actually going out there and go fight.
And here's the thing: Agents of Shield was a very good show. Let me be real though. And the type of episode they were doing, they put it up pretty good though. So is it not safe to say if you were able to do Agent of Shield the way you did it, if it's safe to say you could have done Gotcha in live action the same way too in that type of format, but make it better? What do you think? Because now you got me thinking about it.
Now, so what's the question again?
The fact that they were able to do Agent of Shield, how many seasons have Agent of Shield with like 5 or 6 seasons?
Give or take.
If they were able to pull off a conquest like that, if it's safe to say they could do the same with Gatchaman, make it more realistic.
Hold on.
I'm just,
But I'll
I'm just,
say this,
I'm
right?
just throwing I'm just throwing the idea out there. Oh, 7 seasons. My bad. It was 7 seasons of Agent of Shield.
Right, because that's what I was looking. That's what I was literally looking up. Cause I wanted to make sure. Yeah, 7 seasons. But how do I look at this?
Because it's hard not to say not to look at it that way because Agent of Shield had a lot of graphical scenes they used. Like, can't say it wasn't possible.
Well, yeah, I'm not gonna say it was impossible, but one thing I will say is, if we're talking about from that extent level, I mean, I would say in more cases than not, technically yes, because right, Agent of Shield is on a very high tech, you know, is on a high tech ship. So from that point, pretty much. I mean, the only difference between Planet like G Force or AK Gotchman, and then of course Shield is you actually have people with suits that can do something versus guys that are just in everyday suits that are just you know just filling the filters of the overall universe that is Marvel. So
And I'm glad you pointed that out there because I don't want to make act like it's not possible. But now that we start thinking about other franchise that was able to pull off such feat, and Agent of Shield will be a good example. So that means it's safe to say it is possible to pull off a version like that of Gatchaman, but done proper
yeah, because
storytelling.
okay, so here's one of them, right? Because when you go back to one of the noticeable episodes,
Hmm.
right? Let me go see here. Who was it? It was, I believe, one of the it was the young one, right? That was able to infiltrate into one of the Spectra hidden base. So that's sort of like espionage type stuff. So yeah, it does fill that type of ideal.
That makes sense. Made a very good sense. Because I now I'm trying to stop myself from brainstorming at how would these episodes gonna look like. And yeah, you know what? Let me stop right there. Yeah, they're wearing costume, right? Correct. Right or wrong?
Yeah,
Okay. Wouldn't a certain character in Agent of Shield wearing costume too?
that I haven't watched the whole thing of Agent Shield, so I
I
would not.
watch I watch almost every single one of the episodes. Certain character had to wear a certain uniform or certain thing because of the kind of power they have. They keep it from leaking out too much. That was one. Um, hmm. You know what? It could happen, but yeah, you need a real good director.
I mean, cause think about it. If we're talking about like one of the missions being like a spying mission, infiltrating into someone else's base, I mean, of course, eventually you would have to drop the suit and be a little bit more formal or more similar to the soldiers of Spectra to blend in to the scenery versus just actually having your own suit and then just constantly running and and they're trying to shut down places or shut down locations just to trap you in. So you would have to be a little bit more detailed than that, than just having your suit all the time. So definitely, there would have to be more of an acquiesce of moments where it's like you're in a suit or you're in their, costumic suit. That's more particular to them. However, it may be, just to do those things. I think it's just more of that's more brainstorming into looking at the overall thing of how you would have to do it from that standpoint to make it a little bit more quote unquote logical.
I mean, perfect sense. Real perfect sense.
Right. But yeah, like I said, let's get this over with. Legacy and influence. Battle of the Planets was one of the first anime series to be widely accepted in the West, paving the way for Robotech, Voltron, and Transformers. The show was hugely popular in the late 1970s and early 1980s, introducing many children to anime. It inspired later versions of Gatchaman adaptations such as G-Force, Guardians of Space, 1986, a more faithful English adaptation, Eagle Riders, 1996, another attempt to bring Gatchaman to the Western audience, and multiple reboots and a 2013 Gatchaman live action film in Japan.
There you go. There you go. And this is why I throw the gauntlet out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I will throw this assignment to you guys. If you were given a chance, where they give you the funding, the money, the team to reproduce, revamp, and redo or remaster Battle of the Planet, aka Gatchaman, aka G Force, what will be the ethnic group of the member of your team? And since the villain was the Earth based terrorist group, how would your script look like if you were to break it down? I'm giving you from a time frame, I'll make it brutally, not gonna be easy, but be hard, from 2001 all the way to present time. Take the time out to look into it. Take the time out to research it. Take time out to say, okay, how will you flip this? Not say flip the script, but update the script. That's my thing. What about you, Wally?
Pretty much the same sentiments, give or take. Uh, like I said, for me, there was someone that I remember talking to amongst is a friend of Jay's, and he says, in most cases or not, you're never going to ultimately get what you want out of the things you see. There will always be eventually there will always be a slight different change, give or take, of everything else. But the one thing that stays the same is, are you questioning the show that you've seen because of what you've already known it to be in comparison to the original and or to the manga, aka to the books? Or are you just looking at it for what it is at the point of watching the series and or movie? And from that, hey, take what you get.
So before we end the show, we'll look at the schedule. Tomorrow we got a show, same time at 9:30 p.m. called Our Relationship a Lot of Work. Whew.
It's
Yeah,
simple. The answer is yes.
no, not the answer is not yes. The answer is hell yeah. But I will come on the platform. I will come on the show tomorrow, and I'll give you my take on that. On Saturday we have WWE Catchphrase, the word that built legend. Right
Yeah.
now, on the next Anime Unlock, we have Naruto, the journey of a ninja legend.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be too deep because Lord have mercy. The backdrop stories of Naruto is just insanity.
Oh, we're
Just
gonna have.
for a quick little filler. Just a quick little filler. Do you guys not know? For those that may not know, and you may not know this, if you go look at Naruto and do a little backdrop story, Naruto could have literally been adopted by Sasuke's mother. He could have been an Itachi. Literally, could have been an Itachi adopted.
Hmm. We're gonna have that conversations. Then on Thursday next week we have the John McClane conflict, the burden of a lone hero. Hmm. Yippee ki yay. Okay. Then on the 15th we have Kylo Ren versus Darth Vader, Legacy of the Dark Side. Yeah. And on the 16th of March, we have comedian Dwayne White talking about the new Netflix special and more on the gray area. So we have some good show lined up coming up there. So you have any final say what today's show is before we clean
Skelly
our
out.
clock and get the hell out of here? Because this has been a very interesting conversation. We didn't really go in like we did with Gungrave, but we are throwing out idea of how can we bring it back.
Well, I'll say this. What was the difference between this and Gungrave, and why this wasn't quote unquote punched in the face and stumped on in most cases, and you literally stumped on its nuts, leaving it in disparity? Um, Honestly, it's simple because this has a back history. Gungrave's back history is a fucking video game. No one gives a fuck about that. I'm just gonna be honest.
I can't argue. I cannot argue with that. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be safe. Keep it tight. It has been a very, very, very interesting conversation on Enemy Unlocked, which I'm kind of shocked. We didn't take out the butcher knife. We didn't take out the machete. We like, there was something that got us looking at. And once again, I want to thank Mr. Paul Better for coming in here, giving insight on the franchise because, like I said, there is an iconic franchise that had an impact. And the nugget he was dropping in, it needs to be talked about more so we can get a better clarity. On that note, this is CBN Tech Talk, aka Bear Paul, aka Black David. That's my brother right there. Wally is one of my best partner right here on this platform. And I'm throwing the gauntlet out there. Anyone be a part of this show, and we unlock who the heavy fan base, and I'm gonna be gully about it. Black Bomber, we hear your name. I'm calling you out. We want you on this side so we can have these type of conversations to really do it to a real dissect. Maybe have a feminine voice up in here who like anime as well because one, we got two guys over here whereby we're not ashamed to slice and dice. Miss
Apparently, because Lord have mercy, knowing one of you between you or that person down there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. One of you two are gonna do
Ooh.
some flagrant ass shit. And yes, I am guilty as well. But sue me when someone's anime literally is a crystal that makes someone very fucking intoxicated.
aka
I'm,
Crystal Meth.
I didn't say he did. I try to be nice. I try to be nice.
I know you call it Crystal. I was like, oh shit, Black Mamba. If you
Just remember, payback's a fucking bitch. I'm gonna get you back.
There is no payback. What you gonna say about? What you gonna say? What are you gonna say?
Wait
Nothing.
for your turn.
Nothing.
I'm marinating it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember, Dragon Ball Z came. When Dragon Ball
You've
came,
reached your
he
limit on
li-
talking. Shut the fuck up.
when Dragon Ball Z came, when the overall Dragon Ball
You've
series
reached
came,
your limit on
all
talking.
he said was
Shut the
GT
fuck
sucks.
up.
He had no argument. He had no real things to say. Nothing. Nothing. El sonada. El sonada. All he can do is just agree with David about someone being Prince Pookie.
later on, it got worse. Black
Listen,
Bomber.
listen, Wally. I'm not. It's not my fault. You're into hentai and pookie people.
Oh,
Black
trust me,
Bomber.
Dragon Ball's not even that anti. I mean,
Black
knowing it can be, but
Black
it's not.
Bomber. Black Bomber. We would like you to come on this show one day. We get a chance to talk more on the Dragon Ball Z franchise, and you give your own take on how you feel about it, so we can clear the air.
There won't be no honor, will there? Oh, okay. Technically, Gungrave was an honor because we didn't technically
Ah,
sit there and shit on it the way like okay, we didn't shit on it to the point of like in the worst case of what we did in past anime shows, aka one in particular.
I know, but
Technically, all we just did is just beat it up and punch in the face because we still had love for it for the simple fact of what it did as an anime show.
bingo.
Game wise, you just had to sneer that thing, just
So
throw it somewhere and then just
we giving a
shut that
gauntlet
thing up.
to anybody who love anime, but who have a fit on two bit on the direction. We understand they create a point of things. Now, when it's the adaptations, then we have our right to be like, what the F what you thinking? So if you think you have a place here, so you can bring your own 2 cent or you have a different angle, we welcome you. Put your comment onto the show. If our engineer, editor, our main man, see, reach out to you, you come on the show, and we have that conversation on a particular topic, on a particular anime. If you have some gripe, just like me, let's like Wally, unleash it. You can unlock it. Let us have it. We want to have that honest conversation over here. We're dealing with our franchise. We're dealing with a certain thing that did well, certain thing they get like Wally, they get kicked in the nut. They have to. So we are dealing with that iconic franchise. It's old. Luckily, it got. I can say it was safe, but it was questionable why they did what they did. We caught out some bullshit, but we also asked what you could have done different.
I mean, but let's be honest, it had to be safe because again, who were they selling it to? They were selling it to kids. And when
And
you think about that, you understand the watered down. Like I get it, we can call it trash, but if we're facing it amongst kids, it can't technically be trash because it's kids.
and I get it. And I gotta give a shout out to Mr. Paul Bennett for the history lesson behind it, on what the direction they took, and why they did what they did. So Black Boomer, any of you female anime commentary who want to join this platform, join this show, so we have that type of real conversation. We'd like to have some female voice here, not just only us guys, but we want to make it balance out so we can have a real argument. If we have an angle that we had to listen to, that it makes sense, we were going to listen. You're not gonna stop nobody talking for anything. We pick the fact up here. That's how we are on this show on Wednesday. We got a show on Thursday. We got a show on Saturday, and the gray areas on the Black Men Unfiltered Network is on Sunday. So either way, we are trying to do something nice and productive so we can enjoy that conversation. So to any other female commentary who is heavy on anime, keyword, you're really, really heavy and in depth on anime. You want to come over here when we have the type of conversation, we start to pull out the red card, the yellow card, or get them to boot, or throw the flag, or say, you off the field conversation. It's a place to be. On that
Yes,
note,
just be ready for the jugglers that come their way. That come along the way. But Lord have mercy, there'll be some jugglers. Lord have mercy.
oh, there's a lot of anime that gonna be lined up. Either they're safe from us or they get beat down from us.
Oh, and trust me, Naruto won't be safe. If he said what he said in Dragon Ball, I expect you to say some shit in Naruto. Lord have mercy, I expect you to say some shit.
Ah, Naruto is a landmine. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Lord.
Naruto is a landmine. You step on a wrong mine,
Say what? Say one about that. It's gonna be a whole
it,
other
it
cycle.
it's very questionable why he's a legend. Don't take my word for it. So on that note, CB and
I
Pep
would
Talk.
not say you. I would not do that, Lady Naboa. I would not do that.
See, you have one of our lady over here, Lady Navoa, keeping Wally on the watch. You like Wally?
I would not do that. The only reason I would sit there. No, if you were someone like, hey, lady Novoa, if you're someone that's trying to get in and then you get in and you gave your opinion, it's like, okay, you're getting in, you're giving your opinion. I can't do nothing about that. I really can't. I just can't. But if you're someone that was really ingrained and you knew what you're watching, and you knew what you're digging into, and you say what you said, maybe then, because then I would actually have to see her say. But even then, again, we're two different people. It's like, okay, you're female, I'm a guy. Hey, it is what it is.
Hey, Lady Navoa, let me be with you. When we have these conversations, we're basing on a particular franchise, a particular product that have been pushed out here. Either it was done just the right way, just or it was done the true wrong way ever, whereby it kind of like you really have to just unleash on it. So it's not gonna be attacking you, we're attacking the argument. Because when me and Wiley go back on forth, I had to call it out. And sometimes we have an instigator who come in and like, well, it wasn't this way, it's actually this. And you know how Wally is. Wally be like, oh nigga, no you did it. Then Wally had his revenge and went nuclear on it.
Now look, that wasn't revenge. That was just a look. This is what happens when you're somebody that listens to what the words that you're using, and then you correlated to that, and then you just go shit for broke. You just go for broke. You just go for broke. Sadly enough, I went for broke, and I did that. It is what it is.
Yeah,
Sue me for it. I don't care. Look, if there was anybody else that heard the same shit, you would have thought the same thing like me. I'm just being real. I don't give a fuck.
well, I hope the editor of this show put the link of the show he referring to. So if you think Wally is wrong, click on this link and watch this show and tell me what you feel. Hey, I'm just being honest here. And what I like about this show, we're being transparent about it, but sometimes our transparency is going to be a little off the wall, so to speak, because I do not want to be in the debate between which is better, Star Trek or Star Wars, because I stay away from that argument for a good reason. I stay away from it. That get brutal. It get real brutal. Star Trek versus Star Wars. That debate never ended, did it, Wally?
It probably never did, but I'm gonna be honest with you. For me, it did because I would have chose Star Wars over Star Trek, and why? For one simple reason, one reason only. I just got more action out of Star Wars. Now, granted, I do not know Star Wars like that. I'm just gonna be fair. I don't know neither one side. Now, granted, I do like what was in Star Trek, but it just wasn't enough action for me. It just wasn't.
But now you get my point. That's why I stay away from those such kind of any argument that took a whole entire country to get into. I stay away from.
Oh
That
man.
is, I'm not touching that one. See, the universe says Star Wars hands down. I live in New York City. I'm not trying to say, oh, Star Wars, and I live next door to a whole building of Star Trekkies. No, thank you.
I mean, honestly, I ain't gonna lie. If you're a true Star Trek fan, hey man, salute to y'all. Truly, salute to you. The patience you have, literally, the patience you have, because I couldn't have the same patience. I just couldn't.
See, that is my point. This is why I'm saying any debate that is huge and a nationwide debate, I'm not touching that because I don't want everybody to say, "Hey, wait, no." The Dragon Ball thing was necessary. It was very, very necessary because there was a lot of and based on the latest my franchise drop of what I'm going to talk. What I was saying, I saw Black Boomer was doing a commentary based on a certain episode, but I want her to come over here, bring it over here, so we can have that talk. So we can start calling out some bullshit. And let me see if this guy right here not gonna lose his school.
Oh no, you already know I am. I'm sorry. For anyone out there, again, that form is not canon. I don't give a rat's ass. That form is not canon. I don't give a fuck. I don't give two flying fucks.
Oh,
It ain't canon. Fuck no. You can't explain it to me. You just can't. Because again, if that's the case, then Dragon Ball Daima cannot be at before Super was created. It just can't. Nope.
So,
Bullshit.
Black Mama, I'm calling you out there.
I,
You hear your
I
name?
called I called nothing but treachery lies.
Anyone, any other female commentator in anime who big on anime want to come over here on this side? Please show up. Please let us have that conversation and let it be. I don't care. You could be raw and uncut up in here because we've been going in on some.
Cause I'll even put this even further. Hold on, I'll even put this even further. If this is the case, right? Because of course it happened in other world, aka in the demon realm. Are we supposed to sit here and say that technically, on a technicality, Super Saiyan form in the current timeline of Dragon Ball Super, well, before Dragon Ball Super gets in, we're supposed to be saying that technically that same form is only a demonic Saiyan form?
See, there you go. This is why I
Are
say
we
we.
all?
That's why I say I'm giving out the invitations to other female
And then
commentaries.
I can go further. If that's true and it's in another world, how can Vera see something like that and visualize it?
Like
You
I
can't.
said,
You're selling me a whole bunch of BS. I'm just saying. No,
this is
no,
why we having this show,
no.
and we are hoping we open the door to female commentators on the anime side to come and join us here because
Because I'll say this. Wait, let me throw this one curveball. Because you know what that tells me? What that tells me is the demon realm, right? How they show you the entrance and everything. What that tells me is that entrance is the multiverse gateway of getting Super Saiyan 4. Ergo, the timeline, aka of GT, would be in there somewhere in the mixture. It's the only way you prove this shit. It's the only way. It's literally the only way. Because there ain't no way for me. They just none.
let's just end this show right now because we go any further, it will get heated. So on that note, this is CBN Black David. This is Wally. This is Anime Unlocked under the Spartan HQ Networks. Keep it safe, keep it tight. Come back tomorrow for a new show, new topic, and we'll keep this thing going. On that note, good night.
Stay next week, ladies and gentlemen.